It's finally here! Oh, long have we waited. I don't know about you, but I am absolutely pumped to look through this. So, I didn't think this was coming until the afternoon. I genuinely haven't read this through yet. I think the FAQ dropped within the last 25 minutes. And I saw that 10 minutes after it dropped, so I'm late to the party. And yeah, I opened the Cathay one to make sure that they had been nerfed, and then I'd use that as a screenshot for the thumbnail. The thumbnail, which is terrible. I thought this was coming in the afternoon. I was going to make a nice thumbnail this morning. I was going to prepare myself. I was like, oh, 3 p.m. That's when things are going to happen. But it's not, and you know what? I'm pleased to be wrong. Pleased to be wrong. Good to see you all. Jaju's here. Sazilaz as well. The poorly principal. Nerf for the nerf god. Damn right. Damn right. Hey, Oak Boy Phil, hope you're doing well. Entropy says, please tell me what to think. I will do my level best. Oh, man, I am pumped. Pumped, I tell you. If you're here and you haven't already, please do give the stream a thumbs up. It'll help get picked up in the algorithm. All of that good stuff. Not that I'm sure that we'll need it today. Normally, these FAQ streams go and do pretty well. So that should be fine. Is there meant to be point changes? I don't know. The rumor was that someone had told me they thought was probably true, and I didn't know this, but I thought might have been good. Was there were meant to be point changes, but I guess not. Or if we go to the old world page, this isn't cropped correctly. I've cropped for my I've cropped for the actual FAQ, so apologies that the screen's a little bit skew-if here. But if we just have a look at news, maybe there'll be points coming with this later. I'm going to assume there isn't. I'm going to assume that what we get is, we get what we get and we don't get upset. So let's just have a quick look. So there's there's a balance patch. Oh, here we go. All right, let's start off here then. Is this just starting? It absolutely is, Andreas. It's a few I went live 2 minutes ago. So let's just look at the context here for the balance update and then get straight into it. I'm edging myself because I actually don't know what's here. All right, so it's been a few months since the release. We've seen a release of a whole new faction for Cathay. With two factions. Thank you very much. Just because you haven't sold models for Renegade Crowns doesn't mean that they don't exist. A miner's now viable. We will absolutely do a question section at the end. Don't feel like you can't ask questions now. I just can't answer them. I genuinely haven't got a clue. I'm hoping there's some changes in there that'll affect them. Plenty of questions. So with a big thank you to everyone who took time to send us an email. We felt it was time to update the errata and FAQ. Very good. The next update later in the year. I love that. Amazing. So they're confirming that we're getting another FAQ this year. That could be in 11 months' time. I don't care. I'm just really pleased that we're seeing some changes there. Avoided making large revisions. Okay, sure. So no major game balance decisions. Honestly, I think the game's in a decent spot as long as they fix the outliers. We've taken a fresh look at the armies of Grand Cathay. Wow, that's totally surprising. Ogre Loader, how it should work, cool. I bet they haven't fixed the Orcs and Goblins Orc Bully. I bet that's still not fixed. Points, values, and effects of some magic items, love that. Power and survivability of Sky Lanterns, lowering toughness. Someone told me this was happening. A friend of a friend of a friend, their dog told them. I was like, I just don't feel like it's going to happen. But sure, demoting the commander from champion. Okay, that's cool. We'll talk about that when we get to it. But this is really big for non-character balloons. Okay, cool. That's great stuff. We've amended a number of profiles. I just didn't think they liked tweaking profiles. I'm super jazzed to be wrong about that. I said, less than a month ago, I didn't think they were going to make changes to profiles. Great. Love this. If this is a good way to balance, love this. Points value, great. Leadership of the priests. Okay, so that was true. Obviously, there was a rumor there. This line here is amazing. We'll continue to update profiles. The goal being to improve balance over time based on the feedback we receive and the evidence of games played. Tell me this is... I haven't even looked at the FAQ. I just want to get some glazing out of the way. Tell me this is not the best edition of Fantasy in terms of support that we've ever had. How is it? How can you not just be absolutely hyped? Andrea says, wood elf buffs, let go. Okay, amazing, because I have been chipping away at painting some winter wood elves, so I hope they're good buffs, because I'm probably... In fact, I think I'm pretty much locked into taking them to Saffron Slam, because I've bought the models, I've started painting them. A bit sad about Doomseekers and Rangers catching strays. Okay, cool. Let's just speculate on points changes rather than reading the document in here to read. You know it, baby! You know it! You know it. The first edition of Fantasy where we're getting support. I know, right? It's amazing. I'm a huge fan. Great. Love that. Really nice article. I'll read it properly on my own time because you're here to see the FAQ. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that hasn't changed. So the casting is the same. The ward saves are the same. Wasn't there a section here on regen? I guess they've changed that. Okay. Fighting ranks all the same. Frenzy is still terrible. Okay. I mean, it was bad before, but now it's yeah. I'm not gonna wax lyrical on this because you don't care. There is a time and a place for me to rant about Frenzy, and it's not while you're all frothing to see the new rules. Okay. Sure, great, love that. So, unstable. Add the following to the end of the first paragraph. These wounds cannot be recovered by a regeneration save. Hell yeah. That's a good change. That speaks to me to say that undead also can't do it for their regen. Big fan. Stupidity's the same. Cool. Wait, hold on. Blue is just when the song is updated. Oh, so blue is updated. Okay, so I do actually need to read the blue. My apologies. Okay, so it just says, for Frenzy, the modifier does not apply to the mount. Okay, so it just says that Frenzy isn't passed on. Sure, that's fine. Are we having a 1 minute of silence for the death of Cathay? I think the rumoured demise of Cathay is greatly exaggerated, but I've literally, that's the only bit I've skimmed. I don't have any full context for the game. Poison attacks. If it rolls a natural 6 when making a roll to hit, it may apply a +2 modifier to that hit's roll to wound. Cool. I think that's just standardizing the wording because it was kind of a little bit messy previous to that. Unstable. We've talked about unstable. Stupidity. Unless it's fleeing or engaged in combat, you must test for stupidity by making a leadership test during the start of turn subphase of each its turn. Why is that different? Why is that different? I don't know.
Big.
Hey, thank you, Hell Hydra. Oh, I don't have alert box on for some reason. Why is that not working? In fact, let me just put that back in. How did I fix this before? If I just go this one, and I copy this, and then I put that there. If I just go take off studio mode, that should fix things. Apologies for your message not showing up on screen. In fact, let me just see if I can replay that. Great. Okay. No audio. Well, maybe there was audio. Because I didn't have my headset on. I'm going to assume that the audio is working, and we're gonna go from here. Huge. Cannons and Shugs are still amazing. Cool. Lovely stuff. Orc Bully is mentioned. Okay. Fun. So what's the change to stupidity? Anyone know the change to stupidity?
Big.
Hey, everything is working. Thank you, Entropy, for being here for 15 months. Huge fan of that. Okay. The Reddit leak 2 months ago was 100% right. Amazing. I thought it was wish listing, so a lot of the stuff in there I was pretty keen on. I'm not in love with the change to the Royal Peg, but they can flee. Thank you, Strife. Appreciate that. So here it says except to flee, but like this section here, it doesn't say anything. All right. I don't think we really care about stupidity all that heavily, so we can just move on and work out what's going on later. If it's a big change, I'll put out like a short or something. Okay, so woodland boundaries. Change the second paragraph as follows. Regardless of the position of any individual trees within the terrain feature, they count as being behind partial cover as long as over half the model or... Ooh, okay. So this change here means that you can no longer touch a wood with 1% of a model to get an entire unit's save. Now that is a good change for the health of the game. It is how I've been not dying to Cathay immediately. And / other shooting army. So this is a little bit of a buff to ballistic skill shooting, which, to be fair, is at its core weak. Don't come for me. Ballistic skill shooting is bad. It's just there are a couple of units that are very good at ballistic skill shooting. So I think this change is good. I just hope that all of the ballistic skill shooting units are put in the bin. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so the match play guide. Baggage train. Change the second sentence. Baggage trains are treated as impassable terrain for the purpose of movement, but are ignored for the purpose of line of sight. I think they were dangerous terrain before. This just means that you have to walk around them. This is a good change, in my opinion. Does it change how the game is played? Barely at all. But just thematically, people who actually build really nice baggage trains, you were kind of punished for bringing a nice baggage train to a game because you could put models on top of it. Now this has just gone, don't do that. Just walk around the nice bit of, scenery that you've made. Cool. Some battle march changes here. I don't think we need to look at those too deeply. Okay. Okay. So if a unit with the press of battle rule has 2 fighting ranks, can I remove casualties from the second rank? Before the FAQ, the best thing you could do is when you were charged by a unit of, as a unit of infantry, is take all your casualties from the second rank, and then the front rank models would be in base to base. In terms of attacks going out to your opponent, as long as each model only had a single attack, it didn't make a difference. But if you had anything with 2 attacks, suddenly you got more value. Or if you had, no, that wouldn't work. I was thinking about cavalry, but it's infantry only. So this has been standardized. Now you have to take them from the front rank first, and then it'll be the second rank after that. So this is a good change. It's one of those where it's like, it felt a little bit gamey, a little bit niche. So nice to see that changed. If a unit contains models of 2 different troop types, how do I determine its maximum rank bonus? The majority. Okay. Interesting. What would there be where this would matter? Because there are mixed troop types. Is it are skeleton horse archers and skeleton horsemen 2 different types? Let's just go skeleton horsemen and skeleton horse archers. Yeah, one's heavy cavalry, one's light cavalry. So maybe it was the skeleton, like the mixed unit for royal hosts, mixed Ungor and Gore. Okay, no, they're both light infantry, right? Baggage train now crunches cannonballs. Ooh, that's true, I guess. I'd have to look at the wording on that, but I'm pretty sure you're right. There's an Ungor plus beast unit. Yes, very good. Very good, Poorly Principal. War beasts plus Gore. Or Ungor, I should say. Cool, okay. This is very niche, but it's good to have it. Glad to see some clarifications. Big fan. Is there a maximum beyond which characteristics cannot be modified unless a rule specifies a maximum? No. Okay, cool. Again, this is like, this is the footnote. Where it's just like, hey, we think we've covered everything. Have we covered everything? Maybe not. If it works, it works. Morning, David. Wood Elf Beast Pack as well. True, although I don't know that they can get rank bonuses. Maybe they can. I feel like they're in skirmish. I've only ever taken them as 1s and 3s. I haven't ever tried to take a big unit. Magic is untouched. Cool. Actually, I think I was a little bit nervous about the magic system 6 months ago. I feel like it works pretty well, so I don't feel like we need massive changes to magic outside of nerfs to specific armies, which wouldn't come in this. That would come in the Force of Fantasy. It would come in the Ravening Horde specifically because it's Beastmen and Tomb Kings that are the theoretical and Vampire Counts that are theoretical issues. Okay. Can a unit that's partially on a hill shoot in 2 ranks? No, the unit must be entirely on the hill. Yeah, cool. So this is basically saying that you can't have... Your whole unit has to be on the second rank on the hill to get 2 ranks firing, instead of in a situation where you were like 80% on the hill, those models could shoot and the 20% that were off couldn't. So this is just standardizing. I don't necessarily think this is a good change. I don't think it's a bad change, but it does make it a little bit more clunky. You have to be fully on a hill. Does it matter? Probably not. Probably not. When a model fights, must it make all of its attacks or can it choose to make fewer? Okay, it must make all of its attacks. Again, I like to see this in the rules just as sort of like a... When nothing happens in the game, people try and find niche edge cases to, I don't want to say abuse, but they look for rules interactions that don't exist. So having boilerplate in like this just says, hey, you think you found some sort of like way around things? No. Do the thing that it says on the page. So I like that. Don't get me wrong. I like the feeling of being like, oh, I have the potential to not kill you because I've done a smart thing, like I've used my hand weapon instead of my great weapon. And I want to stay locked in combat. But let's keep that sort of within the bounds of the rules. Models in a fighting rank cannot fight if they were killed before they have a chance to fight, obviously. Can models in a second fighting rank fight if the model in front is slain? Yeah, okay, so again, this is just standardizing language to make it very clear how the two ranks with press of battle works. Even if your entire front rank is wiped, the second rank still gets to fight. This is the common sense way that things would work, but I'm on board with them just saying this definitely does work. Hey, Ptolemy. Okay, on page 157 it states that units that pursue and catch an enemy that fell back in good order count as having charged during the next turn. What exactly does it mean? Exactly what it says. Love that. Nice bit of sass. Counts as having charged when the combat is fought, even though unit will not have moved that turn. So yeah, again, this is just clarifying that yes, you get your initiative bonus. Yes, you can use your lances. Cool. Great stuff. Oh, I'm very pleased to see this cleared up. This one has always felt gamey, and it's something that I haven't actually done because it felt too odd to me. Like, people within their rights to do it. Let me just fix the camera there a little bit. But it's, yeah. Impact hits and stomps cannot be directed against a character that has joined a unit unless that unit has a unit strength of 5 or less. Does the limitation also apply to unit champions? Yes. Basically, previously, people were charging in and using the impact hits to kill unit champions and then not being able to be challenged out by their lord on whatever character whatever mount it is. Cool. It does make ridden monsters with impact hits worse, objectively, but it just makes things as they probably should be. Why is this asked? Can an evasive unit use that special rule while engaged in combat? No. So that's only when they're targeted by a shooting attack, right? Evasive. Let's look at the exact word of evasive. Do we need to read this? No. Do I think this is incredibly funny? Yes. Who's asking this? Okay. So when this model is targeted in the enemy shooting phase, how are you targeted? I don't believe there is anything that can target you in no, that's not true. That's not true. There are a couple of magic missiles that can specifically go into combat. Okay. Fine. Can use evasive while fleeing. You could use evasive against streams from VC. Okay, yeah, so screams and there's a couple of magic missiles. Okay. You know what? Fair to see the clarification. That is very funny to read, though. Can I use evasive while I'm in combat? Obviously not. Obviously not. Alright. Great. Are wounds lost as a result of a model with timber falling on? Oh, okay, so timber counts towards combat res. I don't know that I've ever had a fight where this would matter, so I've literally never thought about it. The common sense answer is, yeah, of course it would count, because it's part of the combat. But normally, I kill the giant does wounds to me, the combat's over because I've killed the giant. I don't think I've ever seen, in one of my games, a giant in a supporting fight. Or that many giants, frankly. So, that's fine. That is fine. Another nerf to wood elves. I know, I can't believe that wood elves are losing the ability to do damage with timber. Characters. Okay. Can my army include a character that has a higher leadership general if the character has a special rule that prevents them from being a general? Yes. Okay, because I think previously this probably meant that some characters were just unplayable, or not unplayable, or unplayable unless you took, like, a certain character plus a very expensive lord character as well. So this is nice to see. Previously they standardized it so that they're like, no, your general has to be highest leadership, but they hadn't made it clear with this. If my army includes a mercenary character, can I make them a general? Nope. It has to be one of the characters from the army composition list you're using. Great. Love that. Very nice. Again, common sense, but standardizing. Rip Bretonnians. That seems unlikely. I haven't seen the changes, but I saw the rumored changes, so yeah, we'll see. If there's no space for a character in the front rank of a unit with the press of battle rule, can they join the second rank? No. Ooh, they must be placed in the front rank. Okay, this is a big hit to the Tomb King shenanigans, where you'd have a big brick of Tomb Guard, and you'd go, 7 wide, you'd have 3 characters in the front rank, and you'd have lots of Necrotacts that were in the back rank. And the Necrotacts have a rule that gives the unit hatred and extra attacks 1. This stacks. The way that it worked was you would, when you were charged, you'd move them into the second rank, because that would be the fighting rank for Press of Battle. This is a great change. The only thing, the only time you'd want characters in the second rank, as far as I can tell, outside of maybe some really weird niche circumstances, is, I don't want to call it rules abuse, but it is to do things that are very clearly not, directly thought about by Games Workshop. So this is a nice little catch-all just to say, no, you're not doing that. If you want to get buffs from characters, they have to be targetable. Great. Can characters displace command groups into the second rank? No. The command group must always be in the front rank of the unit. Okay, cool. This is fine. This is specifically for the Press of Battle rule. But, yeah. I think, for infantry, I don't know that this makes a difference at all. Sure. If a character is in the back rank of a unit due to there not being enough space for them in the front rank, do they confer any bonuses? Again, so this is just going hand in hand with this change here. I think it's probably specifically targeting Arch Necrotacts. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else here that really jumps out as to what that could be for. Skaven, but I don't think, no, Skaven have a rule. And Bretonnians have a rule for the damsels going to the back. So, yeah, okay. Can skirmishers defend a low linear obstacle? Yes. Just move as many as possible into the base of the feature. Great. Lovely stuff. Do army special rules extend to mercenaries? No. Cool. Again, there's a lot of common sense stuff in this part here. I'm not feeling like the main rulebook changes have really changed much. So I'm excited to see what we've got in the actual armies. War machines have additional models to them. If the war machine is destroyed, are the attached models also destroyed? Yes, great. This really just clears up how ogre loaders work. Big fan of that. And then orc bullies as well, but who cares about orc bullies? Okay. Can someone tell a noob what Press of Battle is? Yeah, absolutely. We've just referred to that a lot of times. So, Press of Battle is something that was added in the 1.5 FAQ, and there were a swathe of changes here, basically to make infantry better. So a lot of the rules that we've talked about have referred to them. Press of Battle, if you didn't charge, you get 2 ranks of infantry to fight, is basically what it refers to. And then there was also massed infantry to give you +1 combat res, and then parry, you also just get, you just get the additional +1 to your save. All right, let's go. There were some rules here for the match play guide, and this is the last page here. If a unit is limited to example 0 to 3, how many units can I field? Okay, so this is just this is clarifying that yes, you absolutely can run 6 grand cannons, or 6 cannons for. This is a bad change. It's not a change. It's technically how it works. This is a bad clarification. This does not make the game better to allow people to spam 6 cannons. This makes skew lists more possible and less fun. Because it basically comes down to, can I spam as much artillery as I want? Sure. I don't like that. I do not like that at all. 1+ is a restriction. Does this mean that any 1+ choice is spammable now? 1+ isn't a restriction, I would say. Because there's no upper limit, you're not restricted by how many you have to take. Can a unit control more than one objective? No, you must choose one for it to control. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is something that a lot of tournament organizers have put in their rules pack already. A lot of stuff that I've played. Oh, wait, hold on. Note that 1+, for example, is a restriction. Okay, Mikkel, thank you. I cannot read, apparently, which is a shame, because that's my job. Note that, for example, 1+ is a restriction. I'm going to say that louder for the people in the back, and the people who can't read. 1+ is a restriction. If you, okay, list building, if you have to take 1 or more of something, you can take unlimited. Great. To be fair, I think 1 plus is only ever in core, but it does mean that you can run unlimited units on anything that you have to run 1 plus of. So, what? I guess you could run like unlimited units of clan rats. Something like that. Okay. Okay. Unlimited Tomb Scorpions, sure. Oh, that's kind of nasty. That's kind of dirty. Tomb Scorpions are pretty good. Wait, hold on. Are they good enough that I'd want to run a lot of them? Kind of, yeah. How many can you fit in? Because it's 1,000 points of special. Now, you probably don't ever want to run 1,000 points of special. But you could run 6? Yeah, you could run 6. It's 900 points. That doesn't actually feel that appealing. Doesn't sound that appealing. Marauders. Ooh, Marauders fan. Yeah, okay. Well, that's probably... Honestly, that's probably a video all by itself. I should probably do something like that. Are you now able to run more than 3 Doomseekers? You absolutely are. You were before. This is just clarified. This is one of those topics where what I've said, and I've tried to be clear most of the time when I've been talking about it, I think, but I disagree with this as like how the game should play. So this is my personal opinion leaching into my discussion of the rules. And then this just says, okay, 0 to 1. Amazing. Amazing. Love that. Okie dokie. Well, so in terms of what we've seen so far, lots of standardization and one change I do not like. That's okay. I don't think there's really much in here. I think we leave Cathay to the end, right? We've got to leave Cathay to the end. We got to tickle the balls a little bit. Respectfully. Got to do that respectfully. If you're here and you haven't already, please do give the stream a thumbs up. Helps get picked up in the algorithm. It is 11:30 on a work day, and there's only 240 here of you. Like, those are rookie numbers for an FAQ. He said sarcastically. Wood elves are still horseshit. I had high hopes. Oh no, don't say that, Keith. I'm going to be playing them. I think I've locked in on playing them. Hey Remy, don't worry, I will like the canon changes for you. For you, I like them. For you, you know, we when we're writing some lists, great stuff. For me, maybe I'm sad. It's 6:30 a.m. in the States, boss. Only in some places. You've got a lot of time zones. So, cool. Well, in that case, let's get on with it. Let's get on with it, man. We'll talk about... I guess... I want to talk about the Force of Fancy first, because I think there's going to be less changes here. I'm also going to make the screen a little bit bigger, because looking across at my second monitor, it doesn't look like it's super easy for you to see here. So, we'll start off with dwarves. Dwarves are 5 to 20. That is a shame. That is a shame, I think. I don't love that. Is there anything here? They're not 0 to 1, are they? No, sorry, they're 0 to 1. They're not 1 plus. Shame. 10:30 in Australia. Good time. Good time. Okay, cool. Well, I think this is a bummer, because whenever I've put ranges in, I've either gone 16 or I've gone big. Like 20, 24, 28, 32. Well, probably not 32 in a long time. But I've gone for bigger units. So I think this is actually a little bit of a shame for dwarves. And I don't feel like dwarves got any better with any of the changes here. So it kind of sucks for dwarves, actually. That is a bummer. Fluffy ranges aren't supposed to be hordes. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think it just makes the unit worse, unfortunately, though. Okay, so the priests and the lectors changing their leadership, giving them +1 to their leadership, so they're more likely to get the prayers off, and they're also just better at buffing their units. Cool, that's fine. That is fine. Ah! Here's a nerf, Remy. Unless it's mounted, this model is considered to be behind full cover while within 3 inches of a friendly unit whose troop type is War Machine. So this is an engineer rule. This means that they are... Basically, they can't be shot. You could do some slightly janky stuff by putting a war wagon, an engineer on a war wagon. People weren't playing war wagons, but technically war wagons were unshootable because they were behind full cover. Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. Flagellant and Prophet of Doom. Toughness to 4. I really didn't think this was coming. Okay. Sure. Are Flagellants any good? Nope. Nope, they are not. Let's have a look at Flagellants. So this T goes to 4. How many points are they? I opened the page without any reference. So let's just have a quick look at the Force of Fantasy PDF. Oh. I put it in the wrong box. For I am a fool. I am a fool, you see. Empire. Infantry. Flagellants. 13 points a model for a human being. For a human being? This is a disgraceful cost. They need points cuts as well. I assume the points changes are interspersed within the document, so they would be getting points cuts here. But they are, I believe they're rare. I'm not even going to check that because I don't care. It doesn't really make a difference. They are weapon skill 3, strength 3 with flails. Flails obviously got nerfed. They can only be used against the thing they're charged. Yeah. This is just bad. Like, they're still bad, right? That's okay. Not every change has to be competitive. Some changes can just be to make people feel better about playing their toys, and that's okay. Sorry, I got distracted. I saw the change. Okay. So, what do we got? First of all, for Bretonnians, we've moved on from dwarves. Dwarves is kind of whatever. Empire, kind of whatever. Nice changes, not big. Bretonnians, these are big changes. Royal Pegasus, change the points to plus 70, which I think it is already. This is just from the plus 60 that it was before, and it's updating that update in this FAQ. And then change from Monstrous Cavalry to Monstrous Creature. This means that a Royal Pegasus cannot join a unit of Pegasus Knights. So, you're probably going for a Hippogriff if you want a Monstrous Creature. I don't want a Monstrous Creature. I'm just going to put all of my characters on Barded Pegasus now. Save some points and just run them around with maybe an extra bodyguard. Because you're saving 40 points by going... Oh, more than... How many points is it? I think it's 30 for a Barded Pegasus, yeah. So you're saving 40 points by dropping from a Royal Pegasus to a Barded Pegasus. You lose the toughness. You lose a little bit of output. This is absolutely true. But... That's fine. I don't care. I have more points to spend on good stuff. Polearms. So this is being changed. This is the same as it was, and this is the same as it was. I think. What's different about this? What is different about a polearm? So this is the same, and this is the same. Oh, it just says that you must use which you use at the start of combat. So you can swap between, I guess, is the change there. Can't even drink coffee. It'll be in the anti-Brett tech is strikes first. Yeah, true. No 360 line of sight. Yeah, that is big. Oh. Sorry, Danny. Stop snitching on us working folks. Okay. This is not a change other than to let you change between weapons, I believe. Battle Pilgrims. Change the points of the unit to 6. Oh, okay. Because they were pricey before. Battle Pilgrims were like 8 points a model, I think. Or maybe 9. I think they were like 9, right? Let's go Infantry. Because this makes Errantry Crusades significantly more appealing. Yeah, they were 8 points before. Going to 6 points a model, because if you look at a peasant bowman is 5, and a regular man-at-arms is 4. A yeoman guard is 5. So going plus 1 point, but you get sort of like unbreakable-ish because of the reliquary. This changes how I feel about Battle Pilgrims significantly. So it's 5 to 30 plus 0 to 1 Grail Reliquary, and now it's 5 to 30, and this takes up 6 models previously. Okay, so you can go up to 36, so a 6x6 unit. This is a really big buff for Battle Pilgrims. This is genuinely a huge buff to Battle Pilgrims. I think they now are good. This is how much is it for the reliquary? 65 points, which is, it's 6 attacks that can't be removed, because the reliquary can't lose wounds while only battle pilgrims are nearby. So it takes up two slots, and it does 6 attacks. They are only weapon skill 2, so you kind of don't care about the output, but it's got some output, and it's going to have parry. Yeah, this is, I think battle pilgrims are genuinely really good now. I only want to take them in core, so I'm only taking them for specifically Errantry Crusade, but I'm going to give Errantry Crusade another look. Like, this is a huge buff. Also, it's a little bit more tempting to put characters on horses now. I'm still not going to do it. I'm going to put them on Bard Pegasus, but, you know, that is a change. Okay. I don't feel bad about these changes for Bretonnians. Someone said that Brett's got hit pretty hard. I don't think so. I think yeah, that's really, really reasonable. Someone in chat said, David Williamson, thank you, David. The change to the polearm is specifically you can choose which profile you use each round of combat, whereas previously you couldn't do. So thank you for that. I had missed that. Okay. Sweet. Rolando, I'm late as per usual. You say, just like the old world FAQs, this was, it was promised before the end of January, and we're like 3 days away from the end of January, so that's pretty okay. I think we're fine. Also, it's earlier in the day than I thought, hence why the thumbnail is a bit gash, and I will probably update it. I thought I had all morning. I thought it was going to drop at 3 p.m, but here we are. Alright, Glade Guard, points to 10. The one thing that breaks my brain is that by using a point, like an army builder, I no longer know all of the points values off the top of my head. Like, I know a lot of them, but when I see 10 for Glade Guard, I actually can't remember what they were before. I feel like 12. 11. Oh, so they take a 1 point cut? Okay. Right, let's have a look then. Let's have a look at these Wood Elf changes, because like I said, again, if you're just joining, I've been painting some Winter Wood Elves. So hopefully these are some big buffs. Okay. Glade Guard go to 10, Eternal Guard go to 12. What were Eternal Guard? 13. So it's a 1 point drop on those two. Deepwood Scouts don't get a points cut. So they're 3 points more per elf than Glade Guard are. And you can run unlimited units of Glade Guard, because you can just spam them out. That actually might be a thing. Just lots of MSU units of 5. That seems pretty annoying to deal with. Dryad and Nymph, change the movement characteristic to 6 instead of 5, and then add the Armorbane 1 to the list of special rules. Amazing. Love that. Love that. Dryads were 5 before, weren't they? Yeah, Armorbane 1 is really big. So, the big issue that Tree Spirits have is that they are too low strength, and they don't have any AP on their attacks. Giving them Armorbane 1 is not enough to make them good, but it is enough to make them better. So I'm curious about trying them out. Glade Riders, change point to 17, then change the unit size to 4+. Glade Riders are already one of the best. Like, I genuinely think Glade Riders are one of the best units in the game. Okay, so they lose 1 point. And they go into 4+, I don't think matters at all, personally. Losing a point is nice, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, sure, whatever. That's a nice change, but it's not the end of the, like, it's not big. Sister Thorn go to 22 points, but they're still nerfed. Sure. I mean, I've been thinking about running a unit as a bodyguard for, like, a Cackling Blade character with the Totem of Wrath. Saving 12 points on my unit, I'm not upset about it. That's okay. Is that all the changes for Wood Elves? Wild Riders go to 26. So, basically, loads of elves drop 1 point. And Dryads get a small buff.
So you're telling me is my Flagellant and Lector build I'm taking tonight is meta now?
That's exactly what I'm telling you, and everyone should go to the game. So not even my affiliate link. They should go to the Games Workshop web store and buy specifically Flagellants. because they're meta. Yep, Wood Elves did get better. They seem small in isolation, but it's almost all the volume models. Yeah, but it's elves, so I don't know how much volume you actually put in. Sorry, Entropy. There is a power tool outside. I was hoping that you wouldn't be able to hear it. I wonder if I can just... Yeah, maybe they've shut up. I don't normally stream at this sort of time, so... Yeah. No. Maybe adds up to 60. Yeah, look, it's not bad. It's not loud. Okay, cool. It's not bad, but it's not what I was hoping for. I feel like they need more changes. Alright, sure. Well, these are the changes we get. We get what we get, we don't get upset. Arcane Journal. Doomseekers are no longer characters, and they are skirmishers. Oh, well, they were skirmishers before. Okay. I don't think that makes... Oh, no, that does make a change, right? For deployment. Yeah, that makes a big change for deployment, because previously you could be like, my army is almost entirely characters. General Hans von Lowerhack going to Leadership 10. This is a great change. This is specifically a buff to Remy. Yeah, so basically this just brings them in line with the General of the Empire, which is Leadership 10. Cool. Von Trickshot gains magical attacks. I don't know that anyone ever played it without that, but it's good to have it properly ruled. Eternal Guard are already one of the worst units of the game. At least Deepwood Scouts are good. Yeah, but, like, are they 3 points better than Glade Guard? They are, but, like, I'd like to have a point back. It's whatever. It's whatever. Orion's lost fear? Does Orion have terror? Oops, clicked the wrong Orion. Okay, Orion has terror, so that's just standardizing things. Cool, love that. Spectral Hounds. Cannot be targeted by enemy shooting. So, I believe the way that this works with allocating attacks is all of the attacks have to go into the Hounds of Orion, who are ethereal. The big problem with the bodyguard of the Hounds of Orion is that you have to, you don't... They are ethereal, but because you allocate attacks when there's a unit of 5 models or less and there's a character, he was just taking shots and they weren't actually bodyguarding him. So this makes him actually kind of protected against shooting, and I will have to give him another look. Sure. Araloth going to 150. Is that a change? How much did he cost before? Because I'm still not jazzed about him at 150. He'll be on page 30. Let's say close enough. Araloth. What are we talking? 170? So we're shaving 20 points off. Okay. What do we get here? You can still cannon Orion, right? Yes, I think. I'll have to look at that interaction. It's fine. There's going to be more cannons than there were before, so don't worry about this being a rule. The Jade Sentinel is now the best caster in the game. That seems unlikely, but we'll have a look when we get there. So you can... I just don't care about any of these abilities. Like, this is cute, but it's not... Yeah. Okay, sure. Like, again, not everything has to be meta. Not everything has to be amazing. So just, like, bringing stuff more in line with where it should be if you want to play it in your army. Cool. Love that. Renegade Crowns. This is standardizing light and heavy cavalry. Warhorse doesn't have a toughness. And then making sure that Feint and Dodge has actual rules on it. Great. Cool. Oh, FAQs. Okie dokie. Let's have a look at these. When a dug-in unit of skirmishers is charged by an enemy unit, does it lose that status? So you don't lose dug-in. I need to read the dug-in rule. Like, I know it's the entrenched... Oh. It's literally called dug-in. It's the special engineer that does it. The engineer sapper. Here we go. Dig in. Dig in. Behind partial cover. Oh, okay, cool. So the reason this is here is that when skirmishers are charged, the models themselves have to move because they have to move to form up. So this just means that you can have like rangers with the buff and they still keep the buff. Cool. And a model moving through the ranks doesn't lose dug-in as well. Okay, great. Again, this is just like standardizing. This is clarifying, but it's a good clarification. We're happy for dwarves to have skirmishers with dug-in, I think. Can a Doomseeker join a unit of Slayers? Nope. Sure. That makes sense. Goblin Hewer shoots. Does it add D3 to the number of shots rolled for each rank of file or just a single D3? Are you fucking kidding me? So this means that Goblin Hewers are even worse than they were before, right? Whirling Doom. Per rank. Oh, wait, hold on. I think I've misunderstood. Number of shots rolled for each rank or file, or just... Wait. No, I think this has been nerfed. What? This is so poorly written. Like they've even put a typo here. Rank of file. I assume that's meant to be per rank or file. You know what? This is ridiculous. I'm going to look at it another time. I'm going to work out what it means, and then if it is what it means, I'll rant about it later. The Goblin Hewer wasn't a real unit anyway. Nobody was running it. If you were because you liked it, I'm very sorry that your favorite unit has been like taken out back and shot when it was already mathematically just terrible. What the hell's going on? It's truly bizarre. Truly bizarre. All right, I'll read it and I'll come to some conclusions. If a unit of infantry charges a unit with a Master Rune of Hesitation, can it make use of the Press of Battle to fight into rank? Okay. Interesting. This is so Rune of Hesitation means that you don't count as having charged when you charge a unit with this rune. So theoretically you would have got 2 ranks, but you did still charge even though you weren't counting as charge. So this is fine. Like, I don't feel like you should get additional bonuses for their magic banner. Does it gain the initiative bonus for charging? Yeah, cool. I actually don't think... so this is not an interaction I'd thought about. I don't think reading the Master Rune of Hesitation, this is a conclusion I'd come to, so I think this is more just like a standardization and a clarification. But, again, we're pretty happy to see those. Empire. Are there any changes for Empire? Oh, that's a shame. So Laurel of Victory is a magic item that means that every unsaved wound you does counts as 2 wounds for combat res. And this is saying, hey, do I get it for my standard shoot as well? No. Shame. I don't know if I would have done from the wording. This is like, there's a lot of niche interactions here where I haven't really looked into. But like, it's an Empire character with a brace of pistols. Like, I'd be okay with that. You know, just give him a little something. A little something. A little something. Okie dokie. Cool. Then we're done with Empire. So Lances. When a unit in Lance formation is engaged in combat, every model on the outside counts as being in base contact. How many enemy models count as being in base contact? Every model within the first fighting rank within a number of inches equal to the movement of the characteristic of Lance. So this is just standardizing the language. So the second rank is not in the way. So this is literally just clarifying. So Lances, the way that they work is every model on the outside of your rank, your Lance is in base-to-base contact effectively with the enemy unit, and the enemy unit is fully in base-to-base contact with you. And this is just saying, yes, it is every model, but only still within movement range. It's not everything. Although it's the movement characteristic of the Lance instead of the movement characteristics of the unit, which I think is pretty odd. Sure. Anyway, standardizing a language, this is better than it was for Bretonnian players before, I guess. So, abstraction, dead ground. Sure. And then this is the first bit of like fluffy answer in an FAQ for this FAQ anyway. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Can a unit with finest warhorses reroll the dice when using Swift Strike? No, it's the charge roll. The d6 rolled is not part of the charge roll. It is to give a modifier to the result. Yep, perfect. Again, this is not a rules change. This is just a clarification. I don't think most people were needing the clarification, but it's absolutely fine to have these things in. A noble may only wear light armor. Can they also wear a magic helmet? Yes. Nice. Hell yeah. I guess that's the Helm of the Hunt that they're speaking to. And the magic item is called the Helm of the Hunt, so I'm pleased to see that being updated. But sure. In a doubles event, who can a renegade army ally with? Okay, cool. This is not something that I particularly care about, but it's nice to have clarification for their specific doubles events. Bedazzling Helm, yeah. Yeah, Bedazzling Helm is fine. Cool. Okay. Shreedabix. So we've done the Force of Fantasy. Now I'm hoping there's a lot more changes in the Ravening Hordes, because I think the best armies are mostly in the Ravening Hordes book. So let's go through the errata here. And I tell you what, I should do my plugging. If you are here and you haven't already, please give the stream a thumbs up. It helps me get picked up by the algorithm, all of that good stuff there. If you want to support the channel, you can do by becoming a member. If you become a member of Longbeard tier or above, you get access to the VIP sections of the Discord. The Discord's free. Anyone can join it. Link in the description. And if you're interested in getting better at Old World, whether you want to look at these new rules and try and work out what that means for your army, I am running a sale on my Patreon. It is 25% off for new customers. Go to patreon.com/close order. The discount code is in the description of the video. The link to the Patreon is in the description as well. So if you want to book any coaching, the best time to do it is now until Saturday, because it's 25% off, and I will not be running another sale for probably quite a while, I would think. Okay, plug's done. Let's have a look at the Ravening Hordes FAQ. Quell Impetuosity. So we're starting off with Orcs and Goblins. Whilst within 6 inches of a unit with a special rule, you may re-roll the leadership test for Impetuosity. Previously, you just turned off Impetuous with Black Orcs, so this is worse. Okay. I'm not... in terms of the meta builds for Orcs and Goblins, this doesn't make any difference. But all the stuff that was not necessarily played because it wasn't the most efficient choice, in that it's not Black Orcs and Fanatic wielding Night Goblins, is just a little bit worse in comparison. So I don't actually like that change. I think that makes things, makes Orcs and Goblins less fun, I would say. You're less likely to want to pick up some of the less played units. Let's make this bigger as well. Chaos Spawn, go from 2d6 movement to 2d6 plus 1. Sure. I'm still probably not going to play him. Still not going to play him. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Now, as a man who is a beastman enjoyer and really likes Wild Herd, look, I even have a shaman on my desk right now. Vile Tide, change the spell's casting value to 9. How do we feel about that? We feel really happy about that. Oh, big fan. Big fan. Vile Tide spam is too good, and it is too consistent. It is the reason that it is not the Wild Herd list is not talked about in the same terms as the top Vampire Counts Cathay lists, is because those lists exist. So if we see those things getting a little bit worse, seeing Vile Tide get a little bit worse as well is still good. I don't know if they've changed anything for Wild Herd. Wild Herd Vile Tide spam is still playable if this is the only change to it. Okay, so let's just very quickly open up the Ravening Hordes book, because I want to have a look at some quick points here. Beastmen Brayherds. Let's put it on this one. I've opened the wrong thing. For I am a fool. Verily a fool. Ravening Hordes is what we're looking for here. Okay, beast. We're looking for infantry. Let's start off with Minos. Minos were 47 points per model. and as of this FAQ, they are 44. So they lose, it's 3 points cut per model, but you're still looking at probably shield or great weapon. I mean, they're cheaper. They're probably still not good. Minotaurs are, like, I personally, if you can take a great weapon, I'd love to see great weapon wielding monstrous infantry that have strength 4 and toughness 5. I don't know that that exists. I don't think that exists. Problem is, it makes Grand Alliance Bloodherd worse compared to Wildherd for Viltide. Yes-ish. But you've still got, like, really... Like, assuming that they haven't nerfed the Herdstone, you can still have, like, one caster that is still very efficient with Hagtree Fetish. Centaurs go to 17. Centaurs are so bad. Losing 2 points off them does not make a difference here, unfortunately. But if you want to play them, if they're your pet unit, then it makes them less of a cost, I guess. A unit of them goes from 95 points to 85 points for 5. I mean, you're then going to take weapons, so 90 points for 5. I just wish they had, like, some armor or something like that. Did you miss Monstrous Infantry getting no buffs? Yeah, no buffs there. Higher casting value does mean that big rolls are still harder to dispel. Yeah. You're on a sensor. Yeah, Centaur's bad, unfortunately. Armor of Ages. Okay, so we're going onto Tomb Kings. Chariots go to 41 points and get a 4-up armor save. Like, this was a rumored change, and I thought, that sounds unbelievable. I cannot believe that they're doing that. That's really cool, because Tomb Kings are a good army. Tomb Kings are one of the more playable armies. No one's spamming chariots. Like, yes, you can do a chariot Death Star, but nobody's spamming chariots. That relies on a broken interaction with the Banner of Icon of Rakaf. So... losing 2 points here and going up to a 4-up armor save? Kind of want to play around with some skeleton chariots now. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. They still don't do any damage, so you're just getting more juice for the squeeze. Okay. Sure. Sure. I feel like, because it's in blue, were they 41 points already? There might have been 41 points already. It's only a 2-point cut either way. Yeah. All right. Armor of Ages. This is the big one for Tomb Kings. Infantry, cavalry, or chariot only. You can no longer put Armor of Ages on the Tomb King dragon, which is probably good. Even though that dragon is less good than normal non-undead dragons, having to reroll wounds into it sucks. Sucks. Okay, and that's all of the base changes. To be fair, for Ravening Hordes, most of the, like, really strong stuff is specifically in the Arcane Journals, I think. So, Orcs and Goblins, no changes. Cool. Warriors of Chaos, just the promise changes to make the base sizes fit as so. Cool. That's fine. Nothing for Beastmen Bray Herds. Tomb Kings, the chariots go to 49. What were they before? I'm assuming 51. 51. I'm assuming that we're getting the same 2-point decrease here that we saw. Let's have a quick look. Because I really like the Tomb King chariots, the Tomb Guard chariots. 53. Ooh, that's a 4-point cut. That's a 4-point cut. That's pretty big. They're only 8 points more than the other one. They keep the armor save. They've got the same wounds, but they've got 3 more. No, they still only have 2. All right, that's interesting. I don't know that makes them like super meta, but that's cool. I like that. I think that's very fun. I'd love to see more Tomb Guard chariots. I want to see Icon of Rakaf nerfed. No 4+ armor save. Lackland, they already have it. They came with it default. It probably would have been too much to give them a 3-up armor save, realistically. Okay, so we're into the FAQ. This is something that's like, rules is written very clear, but also just feels a bit odd, so it's really nice to have a clarification. Ogdra's Swamp Digger has a lore familiar and knows spells from the lore of elementalism and the lore of troll magic. Can he choose his spells from both lores, or from just one? He can choose from both. I don't know if this was intended. It's written differently to other books. I feel like it might be a mistake, and they've gone, you know what? Sure, we'll just let you have it. Great, love that. What happens to a fanatic that ends its movement within the command range of one or more models with the hostile terrain special rule? The hell is the hostile terrain special rule? Where's my... Okay. Hostile terrain. Dwarven mountain holds. Ah, okay. Must take a dangerous terrain test. Interesting. Okay, so if you're in range of... Was it sappers? Yeah. So if you're in range of a model with this rule, there's a chance that you accidentally trip and fall on a spike trap, but maybe you just whirl past it. Honestly, that's kind of fun. That is kind of fun. Sure. Yeah, sure. I guess. I think I'd rather just kill the fanatics, honestly, but sure. Confirmation on big pigs? Okay, we're going down. We're going down. Where's the big pig? Where's the big pigs? You can't say confirmation on the big pigs and then... Oh, wait, was this not in the FAQ before? It's not pink. Matthew, are you trying to tell me that this is new, but they haven't given it pink? No worries. I was like, I swear this was clarified beforehand. Am I dumb? Maybe. Maybe I'm dumb. Okay, cool. The Troll Hag purchases a magical weapon. Are any of its special rules conferred onto the Motherly Love attacks? Nope. So this is just clarifying that the Troll Hag can use her magic weapon by attacking normally, or she can use her Motherly Love, which is like the giant style table of attacks. This is how it worked. This is a really nice clarification. Big fan. You just take a Burning Blade. Shout out to Amy, one of my coaching students, who introduced me to that tech. Basically just means that you can't charge them with a Banshee and tie them up in combat forever because they have no magical attacks otherwise. So this is just a nice clarification there. Yeah, anyone who tried to apply magic weapons to Motherly Love was messing around, but someone will have tried it. Yeah, but no, my Motherly Love gets burning attacks because of my Burning Blade. Flaming attacks. Here we go. Beastman Journal. Let's have a look. You can only have one herdstone per army. Great. This is something that I have seen specifically one event allow, and I hated it. I didn't play in that event. It didn't really affect me much. 2 partners for doubles could each take a herdstone. Cool, that's fine. You've got 2 separate armies. Each army should be able to bring their own buffs. This is actually probably a problem, in that you can spend 200 points, get... I think it would, the way that the rules overlap would work is that you'd only get +1 to cast. I actually don't really care. This is doubles. I'm not going to dig into it too deeply. But what it would give you is it would give you 400 points at the end of the game if you just bunkered. So that is a pretty significant victory. And you could just bunker around the central objective and not lose by much and make sure all your models stay safe and play a really uninteractive game. It's doubles. I don't think people are necessarily going to do that, but... that is open for a small amount of abuse. Does the Demon Heart increase its user's dispel range? No. So the Demon Heart makes you count as 1 level higher than the caster that you're trying to dispel. So basically it just means that you put it on a level 1 and you dispel as if you are a level 4 when they're a level 3 caster, but you still have to be within 18-inch range of them. Fine. Sure, I think that's how I'd assumed it had worked previously. But again... some nice, just like, this is a common sense answer. Here it is in print. Now we don't have to argue about it. Does the Dark Coven special rule from the Wild Herd Army of Infamy interact with the Plague Chalice? I have to remind myself what the Plague Chalice is. I think that's to do with miscasts, right? The Plague Chalice. So the Plague Chalice is any natural double, is a perfect invocation. However, you also take a strength 4 hit with no armor save. Okay. If a natural double is rolled, it's a perfect invocation and it suffers a hit. However, they will also suffer the effects of a roll on the miscast table as per the Dark Coven special rule. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh no, Daredevil, that's so rude. That's so rude. I can't believe I'm being compared to Seth Rogen. This hurts my feelings. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Tomb Kings, can you resurrect models in skirmishes? Yes. Great. I think the wording on it is so that you actually can't. For either Tomb Kings or Vampire counts. There's some sort of like weird interaction. But yeah, it's great. They should be able to res. Hey Archie, how you doing, bud? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Then there's the profile for the Marauders. I feel like they should be in pink, but I guess it's just a profile. It doesn't necessarily need to be in there. Marauder Horseman. Okay, so that's all of the rules for the forces of the Ravening Hordes. It doesn't feel super impactful. Like, Actually, don't think that this has really changed who's on top. The res says you restore them to the back rank. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Tizzy says you're listening to taps on loop in morning of your peg baron. Just put them on a barded peg, and they're almost as good, and they're cheaper. That's I was lucky doing that before the FAQ, so yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Brett players, I think, potentially eating good, but maybe not because 6 cannons make you real sad. All right, well that is the end of that part of the FAQ. Let's move on to the meat and also potatoes. Okay, thought Earthen Ramparts would have got a mention in the FAQ. Yes, yeah, that's true. That is true. Have they done anything to Legacy? I don't believe so. They said they didn't want to do major changes. That's, yeah, but I was hoping that, like, the top armies would get some, like, bigger slaps on the wrist. So, we saw that the Unstable can no longer use regen. Or is it warp spawned? What was the wording? Unstable. So yeah, so these runes cannot be recovered by regen save. So you no longer get the crumble regen save, I'm pretty sure. Like, in my head, Unstable is just from warp spawned, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. This is specifically the undead one. Yeah, great. So, cool. You can't use the regens there. Big fan of that. Good change. Undead are still very good. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that changes things. But I feel like the meta is not going to change massively outside of Cathay. So, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the Cathay FAQ. So this is the one with a whole chunk of changes. 2 pages of changes, lots of pink. This is the first time they've been FAQ'd. Top to bottom, Cathayan Warhorse. Delete first charge from the list of special rules. This makes sense in that you lose first charge. The normal Cathayan Warhorse, as in the thing that you have your Jade Lancers on, doesn't have first charge. Previously, you could have bought a character, put it on a Cathayan Warhorse, and got first charge for the unit. I guess they didn't want the unit to have first charge. This is probably something that they've played around with in testing and decided that they didn't necessarily want the strength of the unit to be being able to crunch infantry. I don't really know what the strength of the Jade Lancers is meant to be. I mean, I guess it's meant to be magic missile caddies, which sucks massively. Like, that really sucks, and it shouldn't be. But anyway. Yeah. I don't really know. I don't think this is a major change, because as it stands, you just run them as Jade Fleet, and you take an Empire character on a normal Warhorse, and you put it in the unit, because you can in that detachment, and then you get first charge back anyway. And you're more likely to get the prayers off now, because you'll take the one of the Priest of Sigmar, or the Priest of Ulrich. Whatever. Sky Lantern. Change the toughness characteristic to 4. Okay. Again, I talked about not thinking that they were going to change base stats, but the Sky Lantern does need to be fixed. Commander. Delete champion from the commander profile. So this is a really big change. Let me just clear my throat 1 second. Okay. The reason this is a big change is that if you're not running character balloons, previously you were in a situation where the Cathay player could still just lock you in a challenge because they had a unit champion on the model. Obviously, this is a problem because it was already hard to get into base-to-base contact with them with a charge. It's hard to do enough damage to them to matter. That's got a little bit easier with the toughness change. This makes it a little bit easier as well in terms of it has to be a character to try and lock you in a challenge. I mean, unless they say you can't take them as mounts for characters, I kind of don't care, because the character mounts are the ones that are really good. So, like, this makes the non-character ones worse. I wasn't, people weren't running the non-character ones. They were running the regular ones. I'm not seeing a change to their profile in terms of their output. Okay, there is a change to the output. But, yeah, I don't know. That doesn't seem like enough to me. Special rules, delete unbreakable and add flammable. So this is a good change. This is a really good change. So adding flammable to the list of special rules, does that make a big difference to how they're played? Probably not. Probably not. But flammable means that if you hit them with a ruby ring of ruin, they're going to be taking a lot more damage. Nope, I'm talking out my ass. I'm thinking of the dry as dust, sorry. It means that if you give them a regen save, they don't get to take it against flaming attacks. How easy is it to get to regen? I think it's just the Jade, like the 70-point magic weapon, that people weren't typically giving them anyway. If you want to now go 70 points of defense on this model, you just give them the 4-up ward save from the Armor of Destiny. So, yeah, that doesn't really make a difference. Thematic, though. I do like it from a thematic perspective. Deleting Unbreakable, that's really big, and that's going to pair up with Disengage. By not having Unbreakable, if you manage to make it into combat with them, they don't just automatically always get out. So we'll see if that's going to be enough. Disengage. This is the important bit. Should this model lose a round of combat and give ground, it may choose to fall back in good order instead. So you have to roll the test now, because you're not unbreakable. So you have to take a leadership test, and you have to roll below your unmodified leadership. Now, your unmodified leadership is going to be 9, because that's what the character's leadership is. So you're going to have to do some decent damage to it, but it may choose to fall back in good order instead. Enemy units can follow up as if they had given ground, moving 2 inches directly towards it, but cannot pursue it. And in addition, you can fall back in good order instead of remaining where it is. So basically, it's still got the mobility in it, but it's now riskier. If you get caught in combat, things can go very wrong for you. The problem is, you can still just, like, lock someone in a challenge because you've got the character on top. You can still put the ward save on top. You've still got the really big stand and shoot. I don't feel like this is enough of a change, and it doesn't look like we're getting a point change to it. So I feel like Sky Lanterns are still going to be just disgustingly good. You can also stop disengage without numbering. That's a really good point. Although, if you roll a double 1 on the leadership test, but I guess you only have to get unit strength 10 into base-to-base contact with it. So it's still really fast. It can march 16 or 18 inches, or it can move 8, reserve move 8 as well, with a free pivot twice. So I'm concerned about how fast this thing's going to be. It's just not. I think it's still just going to be really, really good. Like, dragons can eat this in combat better now, so that's something. That is something. Sky Lanterns. Once per game, you can make a bombing run against a single enemy unit not engaged in combat. This is a nice change. Like, the bombs are very, very good, and they're going to do a lot of damage on the turn that they drop, but at least they're not doing it every turn. So, yeah. T4 hurts, right? I mean, kind of. Like, you can be 10 wounds at T4 with a 4-up armor save, or like an unmodifiable 5-up armor save and a 5-up ward, or a 4-up ward. That's still, yeah. They do cost like 100 quid though, to be fair. That shouldn't have any bearing on the game balance at all. Makes no difference. Makes no difference at all. Or super cheap to print. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's look at the rest. So, ogre loaders are no longer characters. This is good. This just means that you don't have a weird ogre running around on their own. They're still too cheap for what they do. Yep, 100%. They're still too cheap for what they do. Mercenary crew, they're taken as an upgrade for a war machine, and you position it as you would any other crew member. Sure, that's fine. Okay, so let's look at the bits here. Standard of Wei-Jin. I'm pretty sure standard of Wei-Jin is the D3 combat res. I'm wrong. Causes fear and then -1 to leadership. Enemy units are -1 to leadership for fear, panic, and terror. And that's going up to 60 points. That's going up to 60 points? I mean, sure. It's not a bad banner, but I'm not sure that I was seeing it all that often. Okay. How many points is it currently? 40? 40 to 60? That's a big nerf. That's the biggest nerf we've seen. And it's something that I don't care about. I don't love that. Okay. Interesting. Icon of Heavenly Fury. 45 points. It is a leadership test. Okay, so Heavenly Fury was a once per game turn off fly, but you didn't have to take a test. Yeah, now this has just been standardized to be like all of the other ones where you have to take the leadership test. Okay, cool. And it's more expensive. It's brought in line with the Lightning Rod. I think Lightning Rod's 45 points, right? 40 points. Okay, so it's more expensive there. It was in every Cathay list. Sure. No, the vampire accounts are still overdrawn, I'm afraid. Dragon's Eye banner. On a 4+, the controlling player must take another. Okay. Was it a 3+ before? It was a 3+ before. Okay, so the magic banner, which gives you protection against spells, it's gone from a 3+ to a 4+. Okay. Like, this is a very good effect. Just like 2/3 of the time, your spell has to go somewhere else. Yeah. Morshard going to 50 points. I think Morshard was 40 before. Let me just double check that one. 40 points. Yeah, so plus 10 points on Morshard. Morshard is very good. So, and he was in a lot of the lists. Seeing this go up 10 points is, yep, absolutely fine. Alchemist Mask, Plague of Rust, a bound spell power level 1 instead of the bound spell power level 3. This is something that should have been fixed immediately. It is a real shame that it was left in the game in the current state for so long, because the book was printed. The FAQ came out like a few weeks later. It should not have worked that way. It shouldn't have been a bound spell power level 3, because that just made it one of the best things in the game to cast with. Oh! You know how I've been saying all the way through that I haven't looked at this ahead of time. I don't know what's coming, and I just skimmed the Cathay rules to make sure that they nerfed stuff. I genuinely didn't see this bit down at the bottom where they changed the strength of the Dragonfire bombs. This changes things significantly. You can probably see that I have visibly deflated over the last 10 minutes. This is a big change. Thank God. I was really worried that we were just going to be under the yoke of the balloons. Now, Dragonfire bombs at strength 3 is still very good, and they're still too cheap for what they do, and I think they're still going to be a problem. However, they have dramatically nerfed the output, which is very nice. So, Dragonfire bombs used to be strength 4. The profile that if you look at a Sky Lantern, let's just talk this through. Sky Lantern, whatever. So you come with the crane guns, which nobody runs, because why would you? But you've got the Iron Hail guns, which should be your main weapon, but is never used. The Iron Hail gun is a 12-inch range gun, strength 3, AP 1, move and shoot, which means you can march and also shoot. Multiple shots, D3, so you get D3 multiple shots. And you don't take penalties for firing at long range, using multiple shots, or standing and shooting. So you're almost always going to be shooting at your ballistic skill. I guess you'll take the penalty for moving. So you're going to be hitting on 4s with this gun a lot of the time, which is not bad. It's not amazing. It's not bad. However, you would almost never use this. You only use this if you had to march to get in range, and if you wanted the additional range, because when you buy the Iron Hail gun, you also buy the Dragonfire bombs, which is a shorter range, but it's +1 strength, it's +1 armor bane, it's got quick shot, so you don't take a penalty for moving and shooting. You still have march and shoot. Sorry, I thought one of them didn't. All right, both of them march and shoot, whatever. And you get D3 +1 hits to the target enemy. So what you lose on this profile is you don't take the penalties for the multiple shots, the long range, or the stand and shoot. Dragonfire bombs don't take a penalty for like literally moving because they have quick shot, but they take penalties for well, they don't take penalties for multiple shots, sorry, because they do D3+1 hits, but they do take the long range penalties. So they're a little bit less consistent in terms of the output here, I believe. But they're just objectively the better profile, and you're going to be hitting on ballistic skill a lot if you get close. Now, strength 3, there's actually a reason to choose between the two of them a little bit more. I think it's still always going to be the Dragonfire bombs if you're in range, but they have less output. So that is very big, and I think that makes them still too good, but probably you can play against them. Okay. Sure. It's okay, a Jade Sentinel still makes their spellbound level 3. That they can do that. They're still dog shit. Like, it doesn't matter if you're paying 250 points for one bound spell level 3. I can live with that. That's okay. On a super squishy profile. The real question is the profile worth upgrading from gunpowder bombs? That's a great. Oh, do you mean over the iron hail guns? What are the gunpowder bombs? I've forgotten. Gunpowder bombs are... Oh, yeah. These are bad. Like, you'd take the iron hail guns over the gunpowder guns every day of the week, and also the Dragonfire bombs are still worth upgrading to. They're just not as good as they were. Okie dokie. So, where are we up to? Lore of Yin. Was the Lore of Yin written incorrectly? What's the issue here? So we're changing the first sentence, but into a way that may discard one of the randomly generated spells as normal. A wizard with the Lore of... Oh. Okay, cool. So the reason this is in here is because they wrote it wrong. They just copy and pasted from the Lore of Yang. It's a copy edit issue, and they're just fixing it. That's absolutely fine. Cool. Glad that we've resolved that issue. I really didn't understand why this needed to be changed, but now I see it. Cathay and Lance. Cavalry, monster, or chariot only. Strength and AP are only against the models that the wielder charge that turn. So this is just bringing things in line, the Cathay and Lance in line with the models from... You know, the rules updates from 1.5. Although I noticed that they haven't done that with things like, for example, the like special halberds, for example, for elves. Anyway, yeah, fine. That just standardizes how they work. That's okay. The Storm Dragon Errata. Let's have a look. Ring of Jet is no longer extremely common. Oh, yes. Thank you. And it's bound spell power level 1. Amazing. Love that. Is it better than Ruby Ring of Ruin? Yeah, probably. Do I care about people being able to take it now? Not at all. I can live with this. Anyone who's played against Ruby Ring of Ruin in the last 6 months knows that the spell goes off less than you want. That bound spell 1 to bound spell 2 is a big downside. And I think on Quiet Spirits it's the same casting value. I think it's still 8. Yeah, so it's the same casting value. This is basically just a bespoke Ruby Ring of Ruin that you can take one of this and one of the Ruby Ring of Ruin, and I'm okay with that. Good. Okay. Seal of Xingpo. Let's have a look here. You can discard 2 of your randomly generated spells and instead select 2 signature spells. Huh. Why has that gone to 35 points? I don't think I've seen people using this to, like, terrifying effect. But maybe I'm wrong. Huh. Thanks, Angus. So from earlier in the stream, I was pointing out that the Cloud of Soot made the war wagons count as if they were behind full cover, but large targets don't get cover ever, so it didn't matter. So I actually don't think that rule change makes a difference at all. But, you know, I'm on board with it. You think the seal is interesting, you've thought about it a lot. Yeah, like, I don't think there's a bad item. I don't think it's bad at all, but yeah. Have they changed the copy-paste error for the grand banner of superiority. No. No, they have not. Okay. Cool. That's fine. Like, I'm not upset at this change. I'm just surprised to see it. What they will do, though, when they're balancing, is that they won't just look at what's good. They'll look at what is the second tier of items. When things get nerfed, are people going to move into other items? And I guess they thought that this was a very high priority. You know what? Let's very quickly look at the Law of Yang. So, are there 2 spells in here that you'd want to take? I like the Magic Missile. I don't really care about Grand Bastion. And I like the Might of Heaven and Earth, but because you have to cast it on a 12. You know what? What's surprising, actually, not seeing any casting value changes to the signature spells for Law of Yin and Law of Yang. I actually feel like they probably could do with being buffed in a way. Not like this one, like I don't think this needs to be nerfed, but like 9 and 12 for the Might of Heaven and Earth, that could do with being buffed. Law of Yin. So, like, I like Might of Heaven and Earth, and I like the Constellation of the Dragon, but I feel like I don't necessarily want them both on the same caster, because one is to do ranged stuff, and one is to do melee stuff. So, I don't feel like that overlaps. Law of Yin. There is a Hex. There is another Hex. So you could go double Hex, and then Ancestral Warriors is the, not Magic Missile, the Assailment spell. Cool. So that's fine. Like, and you have to take them from specifically the lore. So you can't go like, I'm taking, you can't do this, but like, you're not taking Demonology for the summoning and also getting the Magic Missile from the Law of Yin. Yeah, okay. I actually don't think this needed to be nerfed. I'm not going to cry that a Cathay item has been nerfed, though. Ancestral Warriors is a trap. You've tried it endlessly. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, then we've got some FAQs. Arcane. Why am I reading that line? My brain just turned off, and I just read the words in front of me instead of doing anything smart. So, Heavenly Beacon allows you to modify the roll by +1 or -1 when rolling to determine if ambushes arrive. Is this cumulative? No. Okay, so multiple Sky Lanterns don't make it so that you can bring on ambushes on a roll of a 2+, which is a good change. Great. This is how it should have worked before. These are the sorts of things that we, like, especially competitively, you'll laugh at and you'll acknowledge when your opponent does it. You're like, oh, that's dumb. But you're playing within the rules. Like, it's not a problem, but you're just like, this probably shouldn't have existed. Anyway, let's move on. We both know it exists. It is what it is. I'm pleased to see things like this fixed. Are the effects of the Grand Cannon's Thunderous Impact cumulative? No. Amazing. Obviously, rules as written it was. Now this has been changed. This is how everyone played it. Just seeing it nerfed into the ground. Big fan. Mastery of the Elemental Winds can only be used once per turn, but is this once per wizard or once per army? See, that's what I thought. I thought it was once per army. But I've played against multiple people who played it as once per wizard. Let me just read the wording again. Once per turn, a wizard. Yeah. Yeah, this feels clear. I think I've been hard done. You know, I feel like I've been cheated, and I say that without, you know, I'm not going to say who has done it against me. There's been a couple of players who've done it against me, and I don't think that they are the type to go out their way to cheat. But I feel like they have used the rules incorrectly against me. And you know what? This is one where I said, isn't it just once per model? Once per army. And they were like, no, it's once per model per army, per turn. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. But you know what? I trust you. Let's just move on. I should have pushed back a little bit more on this. I should have pushed back a little bit more. Well. Hey, Krieg. How you doing? Good FAQ. I think it's interesting. There is less here than I was hoping for. I think the Cathay changes are better than I first worried they were. If you go and watch like the 15-minute section where I start talking about them, I think you can see me visibly deflate, and I'm like, fuck, we're just gonna have to play against more balloons. I missed the bottom line, which is Dragon Firebombs are nerfed to Strength 3. I think the balloons are still very good, and I think most armies, if they're not comped by an event, you're going to want to run multiple of them because they're still very good. And I think if you're allowed to put characters on them, and I wish you couldn't put characters on them, I wish that was a change that they put in here. If all of these changes had come in and you couldn't do character balloons, I wouldn't have an issue with how they are. I think they're still pretty good, but I think they're still uninteractive to a degree. I would have liked to have seen them nerfed below good. If there was any question that deserved a bit of a sassy answer, it was the Elemental Winds one. Did we not get any sassy answers? I actually don't think we got any sassy answers, Morning Landon. You were hoping for a balance update for Legacy Armies. We were all hoping for it, but realistically, it wasn't ever going to come. They've made their position on Legacy Armies very clear. I don't agree with it, but to be entirely fair to them, they have said, we are never touching these rules. Is that right? No. Is it what they said they were going to do? Yes. Am I annoyed at them? Yes. Am I unreasonably annoyed at them? A little bit. Like, I think it is unreasonable because they've said what they've said. Yeah. Which faction is the biggest winner from this FAQ? VC. So, Undead are barely touched. Undead lose the regen on Crumble, which is a hit. Don't get me wrong, it is a hit, but I think the layered strength of Undead, removing one layer of that strength does not make them meaningfully worse. The things that prey on Undead, like you've got big bricks of infantry. Those big bricks of infantry are now less vulnerable than they were because Sky Lanterns can't do multiple bombing runs. So you don't have to deal with every turn pie plates on your big units of infantry. So I think that Undead are better than they were. Have I noticed any sneak deletions? I have not, but if there are any, I would love to see them. Like, someone will like post it on Facebook or something if there are any sneak deletions. That's for sure. Murada says 6 months waiting for this. Well, it's always been like this. That's wrong. Like, that is an unbelievably wrong statement. This is the most support that we've ever had. Do I think that this is an out-and-out amazing FAQ? No. I think there are a lot of clarifications. I would have liked for there to be a little bit more, but I think it's really disingenuous to imply that this is the state of things when this is actually the best fantasy has ever been. Would I like it to be better? Yes. Do I think that they've missed the boat on some things? Yes. Has it always been like this? Absolutely not. Games Workshops have pulled off a blind run balloons, more likely to see weaker balloons on tabletop if I've seen Boar Boys break Graveguard. Yeah, like, so you can deal with Graveguard. The problem is a good VC player never lets you just like charge them on their own. Dealing with Graveguard is actually not really the mathematical issue. It's kind of just a good Vampire Counts player just keeps their Death Star together, and it becomes very difficult to play around them. Why don't you just ban Legacy Armies? I don't want them banned. I want them in the game. The fact that one of them is too good doesn't mean that I want to throw everything else out. The math of deleting a 30 strong Graveguard brick is much better. Yeah, absolutely. But again, it's not necessarily a maths problem. It's a positional puzzle to deal with. You have to bring the solution to the maths problem, but then also be able to do it. And, you know, like, for example, Boar Boys was brought up as an example. What if your opponent just like charge blocks with a single Banshee? And sure, you win on combat res and then you overrun, but then you lose your Furious Charge because they're only 2 inches behind the Banshee. So then suddenly, actually, you don't kill them. Or any buffs that only last until end of turn, like high magic, +1 attack. Or, you know, there's loads of stuff there where you're just like, actually, the Vampire Count player has a lot of ways to stymie my ability to kill them. You think that balloons have been nerfed enough that mid players won't be able to win with them? I wouldn't be nervous about my goblins being able to fight them now. Why would the goblins ever be in combat with them? If that's what you mean. What do you think about Wildhead now costing 9? Love it. Big fan. Big fan. It's still, that Wildhead list is still playable. It's just a little bit less consistent. And you can still have like a single Wildhead caster that is in range of a Herdstone. You're still going to take a Herdstone. The Herdstone is still the best maybe the best 100 points you can spend in the game. It's disgustingly good. So having +3 to cast means that you only need to roll a 6 to cast to get Vile Tide off. It makes magic resist more meaningful, which is nice. That's a big change. Because one of the big issues I have with the top casting armies is that it kind of doesn't feel like it matters if you bring magic resist against them. But with a higher value spell, it moves the needle a little bit. Do I think flagellants are worth taking now? I do not. But if you want to run them, have fun with them. Do I expect WTC and other tournaments to start using square-based rules as basic rules for Legacy? No. I think the people who are using them now are the people who want to use them. And I think other places don't use them because they don't like the way that they've changed them, or they don't think that they want to follow someone else's rules. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we'll probably see Legacy just exist in the same state for this edition. I can't imagine that we will see any Games Workshop rules changes affecting Legacy, which again, I want them to do it. I just don't think they will. And I also don't think that any TOs that aren't using like square-based already will make major changes in that direction. Disappointed not seeing incentives for special rare infantry. Yeah, no, I agree. I would have loved to see that. But that was pure wish listing from me when I've been talking about that. These are conservative changes. You'd like to see big changes. I think it's better to be careful. Yeah, I think they could have gone a little bit better. Let's have a look here. Happy with the Skelly Chariot armor change to 4+ and the slightly cheaper roll Tomb Guard Chariots. Yeah, that's cool. I just wish they'd like binned Icon of Rakaf, because that is the way that works doesn't feel Warhammer. Still feels like Cathay and Vampire counts are going to run things still, especially with the reinforcements box dropping for Cathay. Yeah, but I can't imagine that the reinforcements are going to be overpowered. Like the actual models in there. I've talked about this a few times on stream. It's peasant infantry without shields. Infantry without shields are not good, even if they're cheap. The peasant archers are probably going to be pretty good in the way that peasant archers are good for Bretonnians. What else are they getting? Foot wizards, that's fine. Especially with the clarification here that only one wizard gets a nerf. I can't see... Like, cheap wizards are a good thing to have in an army, and they make the army better, but I don't think it makes the army better in, like, a problematic way or to a degree that is an issue. What else are they getting in there? The guns. Yeah, we've seen there's, like, crane guns on foot and those short-range blunderbuss, both of which are not good profiles for the points that they'll be paying. So, yeah, I think so. Is Cathay Bonk still the same? Yeah, you can still do the Monkey King stuff. Shigengans are very good. Very, very good. What are your thoughts on the Priests of Sigmar / Ulrich? Probably not worth playing for Empire. Probably worth looking at again for Jade Fleet. So Cathay getting a buff from Empire. Just here for the Legacy updates. Sorry, Ian. Time for you to go. What else? We might see points changes in the Great Bastion book. I feel like they'd have just done it here. So the problem with that hope, Phil, is that points... Well, physical media gets sent to print 6 months before. So for the Great Bastion book, which is coming out, I assume next month. We don't actually technically know, but I think it's next month. For the points changes to be in that book, they would have had to have gone to print, as in the points changes, in like September, which I don't feel like they were going to do. So they would have put them in this FAQ if they were going to make any changes there. Lots of people saying bonk. I feel like Nuln will be even stronger now. Yep, Nuln is in a pretty good spot, unfortunately. Blunderbuss with multi-wounds from a Priest of Ulrich could be very funny. I agree. Is it going to be good? I don't think so. Is it going to be funny? Hell yeah. And that's reason to run it sometimes. Priest of Ulrich on horse, squint often since fine. It'll give MR1 and a chance for a 5 ward against shooting. Yeah, true. I feel like the cheap characters are pretty easy too. Yeah. Missed where you talked about the Black Orc Quell Impetuosity nerf. Where did they do this? Also, no points changed the Arachnarok spiders. Or why did they do this? Yeah, so I think I realistically thought there was going to be no change to the Arachnarok. It's not something that people ever really run. I know there are a handful of people who love it. I coach all of them. But it just doesn't feel like it's going to... didn't feel like it was coming. I don't know why they changed the Quell Impetuosity. That feels like a tweak for flavor as opposed to rules. Maybe they saw that every army had Black Orcs in it, or like 50% of armies had Black Orcs in it, and they thought that was the reason why. And it's really not. It's the other things on the data sheet. Nolan is untouched. Nolan got better. And did anything change to help the elven races? Added high elves to my collection. Only wood elves got a little bit cheaper, but there's not really much there. Can't help but think we'll only get a big fix once a year and a tweak 6 months later. Maybe. I mean, I don't think that's a bad rate of updates, honestly, as long as the game isn't in the bin. Ian says, I feel like the Cathay changes are fairly significant. No. Yes and no. There's a lot of stuff here, but I still worry that the characters on Sky Lanterns are just very, very good. Why no changes to High Elves? Couldn't tell you. Frenzy that targets units such as Battlelust and Banners. Do we think this applies to the mount still? Yes, it still applies. It's only, I believe that rule is only in terms of like the rule on the models. Is your secret army project get any boost in your opinion? No, I'm really disappointed and a bit annoyed that I started painting some wood elves. Have I spoken about Cackling Blade yet? Mr. Siren, why would I have spoken about Cackling Blade? I don't believe it got touched in the FAQs, did it? I haven't missed anything, have I? There's not like a fifth one that I haven't touched. Nope, this is all of the rules as far as I can tell. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. Just the normal stuff. Do I think Barded Pegasus or Hippogriffs will be the next big thing for Bretts? Barded Pegasus. I've already been playing around with Barded Pegasus. So Orion still dies to cannons, kind of meh. Yep, and there are now theoretically more cannons in the game. Priest multi-wear prayer doesn't work on missile weapons. That's funny. I'm not going to pretend that I remember exactly what the Priest of Ulrich does. That model that I've never run in my life. Is it specifically melee weapons? Multiple wounds too. Any unit is joined. No, I think it would work on missile weapons, right? Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that, Mr. Siren. Why don't hammerers not have Grommel armor? Huh. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Could not tell you. Tizzy, so what question am I... What are you talking about in terms of cannons? Am I sure about cannons? I've heard misinterpretations. What specifically is the thing that you think that my opinion needs updating on? Alex says, is this Warhammer related? This is Warhammer the Old World, as in the Warhammer Fantasy, which has been turned into Warhammer the Old World when it died and came back. We just got a big FAQ. This is the rules update for the next 6 months or so, and yeah, this is more about the actual tabletop game than the lore or anything like that. Cannon Bowser's hitting characters, you think? I don't think I talked about cannon bounces hitting characters. Do I think flammable balloons is a possible hint in the future change to flaming? I do not. I think if it was going to be a change to flaming, then they would have just updated flaming. That seems like the way that they would do things there. You mean 6 cannons in a single army? I don't see how that's even debatable, unfortunately. Like, it seems very clear, right? So, where was it? It was right down the bottom, I think, for the match play update. If it's limited to 0 to 3 for a specific type of character, or 0 to 3 per 1,000 points, how many units can I field in a 2,000 points army using combined arms? You can field up to 6 in the total second example. Yeah. This is very clear that you can take 6 cannons, unfortunately. It was really hoping for Ironbreakers 2+. I don't think we want 2+ saves on any infantry in the game. I think that would be actually really unpleasant. What am I overall viewing on the changes to light touch? I'd like to see the top armies in the game get hurt more. I'd like to have seen more points changes. Like, Wood Elves getting points changes is cool. And then I think there were no other points changes at all. Is that correct? Like, no meaningful changes. Obviously, the Tomb Guards got... the Tomb Kings got slightly cheaper chariots. But I think that's literally it. Oh, no, and then Beastmen got slightly cheaper crap. So there's like no meaningful point. I don't think there's really meaningful points changes in this game. And I think that's a real shame. I think that is a big miss. Even as a normal player, you wouldn't run 6 cannons, maybe 4, 5, at max 5. The problem is people will, and it's not about whether it's the best version or not. It's just going to be very unpleasant to play against. Do you think that VC are going in the crosshair for comp now? They will remain the best army in the game. Berserkers going up to 30 mil. Did I read that wrong? I think I did read it wrong. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. It makes sense just to standardize everything so that it's got the same base size. Thoughts on 1 unit, 1 objective to be held. A lot of the events I went to played it that way. I think that's a stealth nerf to Beastmen, in that you can't hold the Herdstone and an objective because the Herdstone's a special feature. So that makes them a little bit worse, but that's not a big thing. Do you think Royal Host with unlimited single chariots is a play? It is a play. Do I think it's good? I don't know. I don't see what it does well. I don't know where the damage comes from in that list. No clarity about cults versus marks for berserkers and Huskarls. The clarity is it's just what they have on the datasheet already. Do you think the old world would be more balanced if you could bring multiple lists to a GT, or would a single faction just dominate in that case? No, that would make the game less balanced, because the best armies are the ones that have the most options. So being able to bring like all of the options, like Tomb Kings, just become way better because they can do everything, but you have to lean into choices for things to be the best version of themselves. So yeah, I do not want to see that at all. That seems like a bad time. Battle Pilgrims new meta. Yeah, Battle Pilgrims are great. Battle Pilgrims, I think, are genuinely really good, especially if you can take them in core. If you can't take them in core, I don't care about them, but take them as core is very good. Can Fanatics take a dragon now? No more than they could have done previously. You hope they clarified Doomdiver's scatter? Nope. It's just as it stands. Oh, Empire Fanatics. Empire Fanatics still cannot take a dragon. In fact, do they have unit champions? Oh, you don't mean Fanatics, you mean Flagellants. Flagellants, they have Zealots. Okay, so they do have unit champions, so they can kind of tank a dragon for a little bit. My Ragnarok Spider is still not OP. No, it is OP. Ooh for underpowered. Take a dragon as a mount. For who? For a Flagellant? That'd be something. Lots to muse on here, I think. lots to muse on. I'm interested to see how the game's going to shape out, but I don't know that there's going to be massive sweeping changes. I do need to try and write some lists for Wood Elves. A flagellant themed dragon would be epic. That'd be cool. It'd be odd for Empire to have dragons. Before someone comes for me and says, oh, back in 3rd edition, or whenever it was, they had royal dragons. Do the changes to Royal Pegasus make them redundant now, just regular Pegs the way forward? I think so, Thomas. You could still run a cheap... Oh, no, it doesn't have 360-degree line of sight. Yeah, I think they are entirely redundant. I think you either go for the +3 wounds on the Hippogriff, which I don't hate, but I think realistically you're just going to go for the whatchamacallit. I can't type. You're just going to go for the Barded Pegasus because it still joins the units, and you don't really care about what you lose. Slayers are best at tanking dragons with entire units made to champions. Yeah, I see that. Wish Orion had been reduced in cost. Yeah, I think that would be good. That would have been nice. So, the Hippogriff is quite nice as a mount if you want to run solo characters. It is a monster. Obviously, it's got the D3 stomps. It's initiative 5, so it's the same initiative as your character in terms of making attacks at the same time. You've got the +1 toughness that the Royal Peg has. You've got the +3 wounds instead of +1. It's on the same size base, so it doesn't take up any more space. I think people, like anyone who wants to run solo characters, are probably going to go with the Hippogriffs. It does have counter charge as well, which is pretty nice. So there's really not much reason not to run this if you want to do. And like it's got terror as well, which is pretty tasty. 458 watching right now, hitting like for me. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I see 468 on my screen, but that's neither here nor there. The prophetess on a flying mount is over. Oh, that's true. Ooh, that does suck. I'd forgotten that you can only put her on a royal peg. Okay, that's a shame, because I really like the illusion caster with Meteor Hammer. Was it like the most efficient way to play the game? No, I don't think so, but it was a fun thought. There's a shame. Does this freshen up the game enough? We'll see. We'll see. People are going to be... When things get nerfed, people are less likely to want to play them. So I think we'll probably see less people playing balloons. Fingers crossed. Undead is still going to be very good, but it's just time to make sure that you've got an answer for them, right? Pardon me. Orcboy Phil says still only 2 likes. Come on, people.
Lack of a Ragnarok PTS reduction is criminal.
The lack of a Ragnarok PTS points reduction is indeed criminal, Amy. I'm so sorry for your loss. I did forewarn you. I hope you were emotionally ready when I told you that it's definitely not happening. But, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. Ogreloader no longer a character now means 6 wounds in combat that you have to kill the entire crew, correct? Ooh, that's interesting. I think that is correct. Yeah, because it is just normal crew. I guess you could probably allocate it. Well, you'd allocate attacks in combat, I think. So you could allocate it to the crew or the Ogreloader, but if the... No, I think you could just allocate attacks to the crew. Like, not the Ogreloader specifically. That needs looking into. Maybe we'll look at that in a second. Can't work out on Battle Lust now. I'm pretty sure that puts it on the unit. Let's reread the Frenzy one, because I'm pretty sure that the Frenzy change is only for things applying. But let's look at this one. Where's Frenzy? Where's Frenzy? I could just Control F, but I really can't be bothered to... Alright, I'll type. This, okay, so... This modifier does not apply to the model's mount, to the beast that draw it, or to the rider in the case. I think you actually can't frenzy mounts now. I think that's the change here. I think it just doesn't apply to mounts no matter what. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to read the whole thing in context, but it might not work. Email campaign. I mean, if you want to email in and ask if the Ragnarok is worth 310 points, you can do so. Sometimes things are just shit. Like, there is, unfortunately, like, I feel empathy for people who like the spider, but there are on the list of things that I'm concerned about in this game, the Ragnarok being too expensive is not something that I would bother to email in for. Maybe it'll happen for a Savage Orc Journal that we've been hearing rumors about. I don't think those are legit rumors, because they have been around for a while and nothing's happened to it. You hope for an errata to Dragon Ogres to make it sure it be units trials 3+. I actually don't think lone Dragon Ogres are particularly good. They're fine, but like in 1.5, I don't see the utility of them that highly. Why did the Goblin Hewer get nerfed? I don't know. I really do not know. I really do not know. Does Mark of Corn apply to mounts, though? I don't think so. Mark of Corn. Models have the Frenzy special rule. I would say no, that the mark definitely doesn't apply. Spells might do, because it applies to the whole unit, but this one specifically I don't think does. What, in your opinion, was the biggest miss of this update? I would have loved to see them take the option away from the characters being able to take Sky Lanterns. If you couldn't put a ward save on the Sky Lanterns, I think all of the changes put them in like a pretty okay spot. Would also the FAQ was written by a goblin, which would explain the lack of high elf changes. Yeah, I mean, like, high elves are in a playable state. They're not. I think they're actually in a pretty sad state, but they're in a playable state. So I'm disappointed, but not surprised to not see changes to them. Rip my frenzied wolves. We hardly knew you. Oh, what? Wolf Riders, where the wolf is the best part of the model. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Is there anything else in here that's interesting that we missed or needs clarification? I feel like there was something else that I wanted to look into and I didn't at the time. Oh, wasn't it cannons or something like that? That the cannons on Orion. Okay, so Spectral Hounds on Orion. In addition, while one or more Hounds of Orion remain, Orion himself cannot be targeted by enemy shooting. Okay, cool. Let's have a look at how this works. So this is Spectral Hounds. Okay, so I think Orion is now immune to non-magical shooting while the Hounds are alive, with the exception of cannons, which can still snipe through. Cool. And he's got the 5-up ward save? Yeah, okay. That's fine. I don't want high elves to be stronger, I just wish they had more options / variety. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I wish they were a bit stronger anyway, because I think they're like a very B-tier faction, but yeah. All elves builds a double dragon. That's not true. Wood elf builds have a little bit more variety, but mostly because their double dragons are less exciting. More weight on the initiative stat, for example. I don't know if I want that. I feel like when something like that is said, it makes me think of what I've heard about 8th edition, where it's like, oh, well, remember when high elves would just kill you before you got to do anything? That'd be... Orion would be quite viable if you gave him ignore multiple wounds rule. I could see that. Yeah, I could see, because then he can still be shot by cannons, but he only takes 1 wound a pop. Nerfs my beloved Hotchland long rifle. I don't think there was. Yeah, no, there's nothing here about that. I think you might be hallucinating. Just realised a Doomseeker cannot be protected from shooting anymore by nearer unit slayers. Oh, that's an interesting point. That is an interesting point. Yeah. Interesting. I want to try a White Line Death Star with 2 times the Archmages in there for the high likelihood of Warp Between Worlds, but the 500 cap on units makes it tough. That's a cap on the unit itself, so you can you take the big unit of white lions, and the characters aren't capped on that as well. How do you fix elves in the context of old world? I mean, if you start by making it so that all infantry can score, then that is a... Oh, thank you, Amy. That's very kind of you. More members, more likes. Thank you very much. If you are here in chat and you received a gifted membership there from Amy, please do say thank you. If you are a member, please do come on down to the Closed Order Discord and post in the new or the needs role section. And then I will apply your role and you'll be able to access the VIP section for the rest of the month. Slayer characters can now join units of one Doomseeker. Right. I mean, it's terrible. Ooh, maybe. Maybe. So you just put like loads of characters attached to one model. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for the profile. Here we go. So it's not a character, it's a unit of one. It does have loner, but loner characters could join it. Yeah, I think so. But could you have 5 characters join one Doomseeker? Yeah, I guess you could. And so, okay. How tanky can we make the Doomseeker so that it doesn't just immediately fall over? Let me open up the Dwarven Holes Arcane Journal. So if we go right down, what dumb stuff can we do here? So, runic tattoos cannot be duplicated on the same model, and no 2 characters can have the same combination of runic tattoos. Cool. And then let's just double check. I'm pretty sure they can't have armor runes, can they? They can only have weapon runes? Yeah. Because if you could make them T10, if you could make this model T10 and then attach characters to it, I think that's interesting. Rune of Grit for T5, that's about it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, unfortunately. And you can't stack them, which is what I wanted to do. So, we can give them... Nope, we can't give them Rune of the Dishonored, because that's not happening. It's a Demon and Dragon Slayers only. Nope. Yeah, Rune of Grit. You can make them T5, and that's the only thing. Rune of Parrying. Rune of Parrying. I actually don't remember if that's... Is that like -1 to hit in combat or something? Yeah, -1 to hit in combat. If you put multiple characters into the one Doomseeker, how would that work once you go into combat? Oh, no. Yeah, I guess you could only go 2 wide. Don't think you can have more characters than non-characters in the front rank, though. Yeah, that's a very good point. That's very funny. Nothing better to do. No, they gain skirmish, so they have a 360 line of sight. They do have 360 line of sight. Ben says, oh, back on the white lines. You know, but with veteran, etc., you don't get a huge amount of them, and you have to take 33% core in CW. I mean, you still get like 30 of them, right? That's a pretty big Death Star for elves. Like, I don't want to see a bigger unit of that. That's, so 30 full command veteran, and you've still got 30 points for a magic banner. Yeah, like, this feels fine. This is still a lot of them. Dwarf heroes don't have loner, right? Just the Slayers, Demon Slayers, etc. You can put characters there on skirmish as many as you want. You could do that, yes. It would be... I don't think it's good, but it's something you can do if you wanted to go down that line. That is a that is one of the options. All right, very interesting, very interesting. Are there any other weird things that we want to look at before I wrap up? Because what I want to do is start doing some play testing to see what's changed, and I want to start putting out some videos. Probably not today, I think. It'll probably be from tomorrow. I want to take some time to think about the changes, maybe get some practice games in and see the effects of them, and then we can, you know, start the content machine. And I also still need to paint loads of wood elves, which are disappointingly not buffed. Does any change at all help the spiders? No, not at all. Not at all. The Ogre Loader in close combat is now a 6 wound cannon. I do need to look into that one, but I think honestly, my brain's melting slightly with that. I might just leave that to the Europeans who like to get into the nitty gritty of how rules interactions work. So I might just leave that to see how things are going there. What will I play first after these changes? That's a great question. That is a great question. What am I most excited to play around with? Like, Empire got some interesting changes. Bretonnians, I like Bretonnians, even though it got mostly nerfs. I think Errantry Crusade is very interesting, so that's probably something for me to look at. Dwarves, I don't care about the changes. Empire, I don't massively care about the changes, but, like, Null are just better than they were. Wood Elves, I do need to write a list for Wood Elves. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so there's not really much change there. In terms of the Ravening Hordes, Orcs and Goblins just get slightly worse, but not, like, noticeably. Beastmen change very minorly here. I generally do think this is a minor change if you're stacking the deck in the... Like, you're probably going to see less level 1 spam, right? But if you're in Wild Herd, you're still getting +3 to cast on your level 1 casters, assuming you're positioning correctly. You're still casting on a roll of a 6 on the dice. Like, Vile Tide is still good. Vile Tide is still good. You can still do the same thing. I think it's nice in that it pushes you in a direction of maybe you should think about doing things other than just spending 1,000 points on wizards. And to that I say, I'll think about it. I like the Beastman characters. I like not just taking wizards, even though wizards is a strong way of doing things. This is a big change that I'm very pleased to see. Yeah, it's probably like Errantry Crusade Brets, one of the most interesting things to do. Skaven? Nope. You know what I do need to do? I need to have a look at which armies can, like, abuse the core spam the most. That's an interesting angle. Will the content machine look at the masters list and say whether they have changed and have to change in response? No, masters lists were a very, like, niche meta. There was some FAQ, like, there was some comp in there, and then it was also, like, we all knew who each other was, so we were all writing lists to beat a specific set of 24 players in the UK. I do not think looking at the masters lists is particularly useful for building your own lists, because they were specifically teched to beat undead. Is basically the expectation there. 6-wound cannon now panics nearby friendly skirmishers when it's killed. That's interesting. Yeah. So you'll cause panic in other cannons, like other artillery, if you die nearby. That's interesting. Do you think Grail Knights with Totem of Wrath are okay? No. Sorry. So Grail Knights are... The big problem with Grail Knights is they are very expensive for very low durability. They are T4, but they only have a 3-up armor save. And you might say, oh, but they've got a built-in ward save. All heavy cavalry, all the good heavy cavalry has a built-in ward save. Like the expensive stuff. Or like a regen or something like that. And the fact that theirs is slightly better does not make up for the fact that they've only got a 3-up armor save. They're too vulnerable to small arms fire. They're very pricey point per point. They hit very hard. I could see them... Like, if you... Maybe there's scope to bring them if you're wanting to crack undead Death Stars. I don't think that is enough to get them in the list. But if you want to crack undead Death Stars, this is theoretically the best way to do it. I think the hill clarification with things like cannons is good. They need to be entirely on the hill, not just touching the tip of the hill. That is not what the clarification says. The clarification is for shooting in 2 ranks. So the update is here. Can a unit is partially on a hill shoot in 2 ranks? No. Like the benefits of the hill thing is already in the FAQ. Or not? Sorry, it's not FAQ. Like, if you want to shoot over units, you have to be fully on the hill. That's just in the base rules. This is specifically for 2 rank shooting. Better off with Peg Knights with Totem of Wrath instead. Yeah, Peg Knights with Totem of Wrath are really good. And they open up Cackling Blade as just like an option that you can play around with. Yeah. Cool. Good stuff. It's been great. It's been lovely to get here. It's an okay FAQ, I think. It's not 100% what I wanted, but it's fine. I think I'm reasonably pleased with the changes. I did have a real 10 minutes of doom and gloom before I realised that they'd nerfed the output of balloons by lowering the strength of their Dragonfire bombs. But yeah, I think Cathay are the big question mark. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to see. That Rabast is whelmed. Yeah. I think that's fair. Sadly, Mr. Stark going to now get to have a lovely podcast. Amazing. Enjoy, Amy. All right. Well, have a good day all. There will be a video, probably not today, but if I'm feeling super inspired, like I'm not going to lie to you, I was enjoying my last day of freedom before the FAQ dropped, and I was playing Hearthstone, not Hearthstone, I was playing some Magic Arena until about 2 in, so I went to bed late, and yeah, I only got up for this, so I'm going to have a shower, I'm going to get some food, because I haven't eaten yet, and going to see how things go. Thanks all for being here, hope you have a great day, and expect a video no later than tomorrow, but maybe